necessarily going to get you a lot of value. You still have to be wary of the potential combo, but they'll take away the Mel instead. Mel Pike could have been an option. And Guma's Senna, which was banned earlier in this series, is now to come back. Now, Senna Maokai, something that we have seen a lot across the last few years of LCK. Not so much recently, but this is kind of, you know, HLE pulling back the pages of metas a little bit and saying, well, in Fearless, this is going to work. We've got mastery of all these picks. Zeka's Yone is terrifying. Guma's Senna has been so consistent.
And you know, Senna has been a pick that in solo queue is just rampaging and doing so much work. Obviously, pro play is different, but the success is not something that's going to go unnoticed by the pros.
Speaking of throwbacks,
he's considering the Aphelios in this situation, but a mobile pick into this composition does feel pretty risky.
Gotta be Thresh, right? It's gotta be Thresh.
I think so too.
I mean,
or Nautilus.
I think Tom Kench is too risky here. I don't think it's safe into this composition. I think it's gonna really struggle. Thresh is way safer, empowers the Azir a little bit more as well. Carius looking on.
Yeah, he certainly enjoys
This is my
himself
pick.
some Thresh. He was a big Thresh player when it was very meta. As there's the Blitzcrank along with the Maokai.
I think with the
It all
Thresh
comes together.
coming in, that's always been a matchup Blitzcranks have enjoyed playing into.
Yeah, your hook is longer.
Well, we'll see exactly how it does play out. Does HLE win another early game? Let's find out in Game 4. All right, game number 4. HLE are one game win away from making it into MSI with that first seed. And it is so juicy to just get out. You don't have to play in the play-in stage. You're the first seed. You don't have to play on Sunday. You get to take a longer rest. You get to say, I'm the best team in the LCK right now. You don't have to play up against potentially Gen G, who is also looking incredibly scary. Or KT.
I mean, if KT,
always got to throw that in. You know,
if KT beats Gen G, they could do anything, right? You never know. That sounds like something you would not enjoy.
Exactly. That was an interesting miss. I don't know how you missed that one.
You know what's weird is that all the Senna we've seen this season has been fleet footwork, but the by far dominant rune in solo queue has been Death by a Touch, and a big reason for her resurgence. So it's just interesting that all the pros have stuck to fleet footwork. Obviously, that bit of movement speed and sustain is nice, but in terms of the damage, the pressure that you can get from Death by a Touch, just not leaning into that as of yet.
I think that the Deathfire Touch is always going to be better in an ideal world, but in pro games, having the ability to stay alive and, you know, having that extra movement speed is always going to feel safer. And so I think that's probably why we see that, especially here in the LCK.
I think if our LCK pros can find a way to get more safety in any manner, they will do it.
I think we're going to see Rocket Belt Senna this game.
On stage. Yeah, no.
Got Doran's,
really
got Doran's helm start, by the way.
We're definitely going to see at least one.
Got to keep your helmets on here at the LCK. Got to put your seatbelts on.
Yeah, Doran's helm, Brady carries also now just bleeding in just because of, again, how safe it is.
I think particularly on Senna, it's been very popular because you have so much sustain, and your effective pool of health is so much larger than the typical AD carries because of that sustain, and the resistances help with that. I think in the previous game with Illusion, it was because that same theory applying to the Milio, who's bolstering you. But the Doran's Helm Senna start is pretty popular right now. And she's also very squishy as an AD carry. Even as far as AD carries go, she's one of the squishier ones. So those base stats helping out quite a bit.
Yeah, and we also have Doran's Helm for the Cassante, obviously. Has been...
Doran's on T1. Why is he selling his helms to all of HLE?
He just needs... He's running a business, okay?
Well, he's got 2 rings on the other side and a bow, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And a shield on the
But
other side.
why is he giving the new mage to HLE is my point.
He's selling a lot of merch, okay? He doesn't really care where it goes as long as there's money in
He's
his
trying
pockets,
to offload
okay?
it. He's like, Helm is worthless. You got to get rid of these stocks. Although the buff is definitely making it, as you guys can see, a little bit more of an appealing option.
Yeah. And, I mean, you know, first pick Rumble comes in for Doran, and I feel like we don't talk about it all that much just because, okay, we're going to actually have a play here, but no, the minion wave is close enough, so.
So that was nearly dangerous because Doran's he'd gone for a heavy trade, and then I think the Deathfire Touch had timed out, and then he got CC'd under, but that could have been really bad.
Yeah.
So I think there's two lines of thinking with the Rumble into Cassante. You can go First Strike and just farm up gold, print money, and be strong later in that regard. Or you go for a more combat-heavy room and you try and bully the lane out, which is the approach Doran's gone for here. And he has got a bit of a lead so far, but you are kind of on a bit of a timer because once that Koenig Rukun comes in, so hard to do much.
Easy pulls here. Now we got Kanavi making a play. Flash shot in, and Karya will have to accept his fate. This will be first blood once again into the hands of HLE, and this time into the pockets of Gumayusi.
Well, that's not exactly how the Blitzcrank Maokai combo works, but eventually the Blitzcrank hooks somebody and the Maokai shows up. You know, that combination, that pairing could be quite potent. I mean, it could have been any jungler, frankly, in this situation.
Yeah. I think, though, when you have Blitzcrank, Senna, and Maokai, if one of them hits, they're all hitting in most situations. So the triple setup combo just very potent for making these ganks easy.
Yeah. You know, Maokai doesn't have a whole lot of mobility. You get him into range, you're able to twist it advance a little bit easier. So it's a nice little combo regardless, and it is going to be kind of the crux of the composition here for HLE when it does come to looking for picks. T1 and Owner mostly just farming it up this game, hasn't found an opportunity. He's just going to take that dragon as here's the kill once again.
He's like, I'm just going to look for a hook. I won't say anything else. And then it says take the kill. Give him his reaction. A little bit hard to hear.
Nice that he moved in the rush just to drop vision, make it harder to dodge. Oh, Root comes in!
Oh, we got a Root. Ooh!
Oh, the Blitzcrank hook on cooldown. Okay,
yeah.
That's why Carry and Paves are playing so aggressive. We just came out of the replay, and it's like, oh man, they're so far up, but the light had just missed a grab.
Trying to keep us guessing, you know.
Yeah.
Owner, you're not playing the Fury this time, as that's going to be the knockup. And we got the Maokai coming on in. They don't quite have a lot of damage, though. Is now Carry going to land a hook on a Delight. There's the follow-up. The sweep from Faker into the wall helps out Owner. And HLE have kind of handshook on a fight that they did not want to get into. This kill will go over to Faker's Azir on top of it all.
Yeah, you can see it was a decision as well. They're both like, and then they ultimately give it over to Faker.
We emphasize the Maokai Blitzcrank combo, but I think we failed to mention there's an important extra factor, damage.
Okay. Gonna get the flash here out of Faker.
Yeah,
Down Soul.
You need someone else there to actually kill the target when you do any Maokai Blitzcrank combos, which is something I think that Kanavi and Delight didn't factor in when they went for that play.
Well, I mean, it's obviously Poppy and Azir as well, and the Poppy passive makes it harder to even get those kills. It gets tougher to kill the lower health she gets, and you know, you watch this happen, and initially you're like, Owner, again, really? But he has a lot of backup here, and Karya is the one who sets up the Lantern while simultaneously hooking, so Owner can Lantern out late. Karya gets the double flay, and then boom, Faker has it in Burst Divide, and Owner's able to re-engage back into the fight.
What was weird was at the start of the play, Zeka had his Q3 charged up, and then used it on Faker to try and stop him getting the play, but then he had to rebind the soul, and he just had no way of getting to the fight. And I feel like this was such a spur-of-the-moment decision. It wasn't communicated well. And if Zeka had been ready and in position to follow up, this could have gone completely differently.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a glimpse of old HLE potentially. You know, just pulling the trigger on any sort of fight when it looks like, you know, oh, they're in our jungle. Okay, we can go for a fight. But again, it's Poppy. You don't have the same backup that T1 had. And not everybody was on board. You know, this is something we've seen a lot in the past. It is just a couple of kills that go over, but it does mean that finally it's T1 kind of in a winning position here. They don't have a mass lead. It's like 200 gold.
But they're not behind.
They're not behind, exactly.
And that's a bit of a different look here so far in this one. As Owner's going to look for a play. Yeah, he's got his... Oh, he's level 6.
Okay, just going to try to... They're trying to stick together, but that just means that one of them is going to get hooked up, as now a bunch of damage comes out from Paze, and they can just go for a reset here. The wave clear from the Senna is not good. Knocks him into the wall, though, and no! Paze got aggro, somehow just dies as Delight hooks him in, and that's the end of the Aphelios. Doesn't even get a chance to flash.
What a fumble there. I felt like it was so funny how Owner was threatening the ult, and they're like, oh, just hit us then, we'll be free.
Yeah.
But with how low Gumayusi was, it felt like a surefire thing, but a misstep. Owner goes to slam him into the wall, and Pays gets caught out. Once again, a dive attempt onto the weak side Gumayusi ends up backfiring.
Yeah, now he's got 2 kills, and the gold swings in that bottom lane back to his favor.
It was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, they weren't behind in an early game, and now they're pretty far behind. If your Senna has 2 kills, is sailing through the early game,
Watch this group
you're just so happy.
that Ox is talking about. It's really cool because it means that it's impossible for Owner to isolate one target. Guma gets ulted here, but there's no CC. The wave is thinning out, so they decide they want to go in now, but they could have just waited. Owner goes in first, the silence is there, and then he steps out of aggro and Pays picks it up.
I don't even think he got.
Yeah,
Died.
on second look, I don't even...
Yeah, I think he just died.
you're right.
I called it that way because he took so much damage. I'm like, oh, he must have taken a turret shot, but actually he just got blown up by Blitzcrank. Like, Aphelios is not very tanky at this point in the game, especially with Doran's bow, which, you know, by the way, is not quite the same as Doran's helm or even Doran's blade. So
I mean, Blitzcrank base damages are kind of crazy. So
he just kind of one-comboed him with Guma with a little bit of help. So
you know what I was saying before, how they needed more damage? Maybe Delight just needed his
on the
ultimate.
target, yeah.
He just needed his ultimate. Oh yeah, better target.
Well, this is a game state that's problematic because of the scaling elements, not too dissimilar to what we saw with the Kog'Maw in the previous game. The lead is smaller this time around, but we've seen games where, you know, the Senna is behind 1,000 gold, and then you get to that break point. Good try, I suppose.
I mean, yeah.
Good hustle!
It's a Senna who doesn't have flash, so maybe if you get that, okay, we're going to force a fight here once again, trying to get in onto Guma, but they just turn tail and try to take down Faker, who barely gets away! And they actually do take out Guma in the pit. As meanwhile, Zeus getting into the action. They finally get Faker, and Pays is all alone on the bottom side. Zeka looking for the kill. So many low health bars, but it's a double that goes the way of Doran. And T1 will win in the pit fight at the end of the day. They also get the dragon.
Well, ultimately, double dragon into Hextech Soul feels really good after some feeble attempts there on the bottom side. Carrier's flash hook. Light.
The light with the flash on. Oh! Turret! It's perfect! Pays says, take a seat, Delight. Not today.
The fact that he committed the flash as well for the play and doesn't get it, it just felt like in that passage of play, luck was on the side of T1, or maybe just a bit of magic, but they're able to pull off a successful team fight despite so many low health bars. I feel like this was just on the knife's edge. Faker initially is the one who gets focused down heavily and has to escape on such low HP after getting grabbed in here. The fact he survives this initial attempt, and then although he does eventually get taken down, look how heavily Zeka has to commit to get him.
He has to flash, so he can't actually rejoin the team fight. Goes for Pays here, actually just kites it back. Owner incredibly low, this Poppy pick, insane. And then Carrier here is eventually killed, but they get the dragon in tow.
Watch
and
this.
then Pays.
No, kencang.
He's like, I'm okay.
Wow.
Like the whole time, he is just like, nope.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, he knew that.
uses the red gun for movement speed, then uses the white one to block. Just perfect situation.
Yeah, we don't see that much Aphelios, and we don't see that. We rarely ever see Aphelios into Blitz, but he's just got it on lock. He knows all the interactions.
Back in the Gen G era, when Aphelios was still relevant, he was one of the best. Faker.
Nice hook here from Delight. That's a lot of damage. Owner going to threaten that one, but he gets underneath it. Kanavi says, you know what? I'm pretty good against the Poppy here on the Maokai. So we're getting to see all the interactions today, and that's a nice pick here on a Faker as Zeka's picking up some plates in top.
The counter Poppy play has been so good from HLE. They know all the interactions. They know exactly how to outplay what Owner is trying to use here.
I mean, in fairness, this was a team that had Peanut on it, and his Poppy was pretty famous, so it does make a lot of sense.
Agreed. Well, that was a very successful setup as Faker backs away here. The minions pass through, gets hooked, and then watch this from Kanavi, straight through the ground. And Faker tries to peel with his ultimate, but it's just too late.
He even tries to, he does actually try and sidestep it. He sees it coming, he's watching his character, but isn't able to in time. Holds the flash there, wanting to save it, potentially for this upcoming dragon fight. It is 2 dragons to 0. Is that Hextech Soul, so a lot of emphasis going to be put on these next 2 neutrals, I feel.
Oh, that's going to be the flash used here by Faker, so he finds value out of it eventually, but it's a problem. He's got it back now. No presence in top lane.
Yeah.
Zeka doesn't have TP, though, so
and now
that
doesn't have that summoner for that big dragon fight.
Yeah.
And the Herald as well in 40 seconds. If you get that, we've seen the value a Herald can have in setting up for an objective or that combat Herald coming through.
I think that's exactly where HLE have their setup here now. Maokai ult coming back online. They've got total topside control. You go Herald into Hextech Denial.
They might just kill you.
Yeah, they're kind of on vision. I mean, he saw delay backing there, and so Carry was making his way up, but still kind of playing with fire. I suppose Doran feels pretty fed at the moment.
Giving a little bit of extra space here for T1 to group for a contest. Or HANWHA Esports right now. Zeus wants to get the Q3. No flash.
We'll dash on in. That was pretty close.
And now Azir just going to head to the mid lane, it looks like. Picks up the blue buff, in fact. Instead, we'll back down to that lane. They both have teleport to join for that Herald fight, where we're going to see, I think, this game blown open one way or another. If it's just given over to HLE, it takes all the double dragon momentum away from T1. But if T1 fight and lose, it might just be going to that series on Sunday. It's going to give this one up. So that should be HANWHA Esports really taking a lot of control on the map. The mid turret, which they're going to be threatening when they drop this if they want to use it for Prio, only has 2 plates left. So it's not only Prio, but it's first turret as well that's on the table. So much gained in just a matter of seconds after Faker's pushed out, lost his flash.
I just feel like we've had a pretty chaotic early game. I mean, a lot of blitzcrank shenanigans, dives gone terribly wrong. And little stun with hitting the minion. He's able to lock down pace. And this is all very crucial. We were talking about the timing. We've got this dragon spawning. There's the Rift Heralds. And T1, they have a decision to make. I mean,
in truth, I think
just going to come in, but
I think they are likely going to lose this turret no matter what, but they could not fight for Prio.
It's so hard to face check in a Maokai Blitz, and Faker's trying to find an angle here. They want to fight this.
Hook is down. Already a bit of damage on the owner, though, and he's just going to get zoned away by all of the roots that do come in, as now a hook comes down, trying to save owner's life, but that means that Carius is going to go down, and this super fed Yone just tears him apart, and also Guma picking up the kill. So
Faker's just going to TP top.
Yeah, and they like kind of tried to get in there, but it just ends up they're bleeding more kills over to HLE on top of the dragon.
It's just not enough. When there's a Maokai on the other side, it's not an angle for Faker, especially without flash, to find a scoop. And they just got pushed out, and now they're going to lose this turret here. Mid-turret also forfeit as Faker's trying to trade one back, and Zeus is coming up to try to deny it. I don't think he's going to get this either.
I feel like HLE are playing so well around Zeka. You constantly see him pushing a side lane, and then Kanavi and Delight just leaning in, playing in the jungle, and making it impossible for someone to walk up and clear the wave. Doran has to play so safe because they're threatening over the wall.
Oh, the hook is going to land once again, and the follow-up is right there.
And that's the result.
Utilized as he just dies, and in goes Zeus as well, trying to punish here. No flash, no ult, and Faker in a lot of trouble. No way for him to get away from this one, and that is just a solo kill coming down from Zeus.
And I think this might be the beginning of the end of this game, as HLE push up to a 4,000 gold lead here at 18 minutes, and we get solo kills inside. The group ups in the bottom lane. The pressure is real. The shadowing is there, and Owner, he's 1-0-4. He's 100% KP, but it feels like he has made such a low impact in this game comparatively. Once we got past a certain point, he was able to trick them right. He was able to out-tank in some of those early game skirmishes, but otherwise has not made the same impact that Kanavi has made at all. As you look at this fight, Faker can't join, right? Hook comes through from Caria, but where's the fault? There's nothing here. There's nothing in this. As the Yone gets knocked away, he doesn't care. And then here it's just a hook onto the Rumble that you said has to play safe, but maybe he should have equalized earlier. And Faker gets solo killed because moments before had to push Zeus out with his ult to peel for Zeus' last all-in, and now he's got nothing.
And he's like pushing soldiers into Cassante when Zeus is obviously charging under the turret. It just feels like
2 levels down!
And once he gets on top, he can't even dash away.
Yeah, he needs to know that that is going to happen. But maybe the respect not being shown there. And, you know, you look at his counterpart in the mid lane, Zeka 4-0-1, nearly 3,000 gold ahead in 19 minutes. And, I mean, you know, it didn't even have to be Zeka, but Zeka's Yone insane. Zeus is as well. We don't get to see it very often nowadays, but this is the Yone team. It was banned for a reason. As now a little hook on a Kanavi, but he just gets ulted away. So really not sure about that synergy, guys.
Hayes has IE, but this Cassante is just so tanky at this point, even with the Rooker and start, that he buys enough space.
Angle here. Oh.
There's just not, I don't think, a way for T1 to 5v5 with Faker also being this far behind for a while. Here comes the sieging ult. Faker has his flash. He might need it. It's too late.
Just not even going to bother. Down he will go, and that is going to be another kill. This time it doesn't go the way of the light, as now Zeus is TPing away. He's like,
oh, what a read.
See you later.
Second time this series he's TP'd away at just insane moments. And now HLE goes straight onto the Baron. Ona has to run there. Should be there in time, but it's going down quickly.
20 minutes.
HLE are literally running circles around T1 right now on this map.
I mean, they know this is happening, but the grab comes in, and Karya is down, and Owner doesn't even bother himself. He's like, well, oh, I say that. He's actually moving his way up towards the top side, but zero vision, and the root comes down. They wait for the root, and there's the smite. As now even Yone goes over the wall. Zeka looking for more as he is extending miles into the enemy jungle. Just executes him from miles away.
He didn't even need the Q3. He's like, let me try to hit this one. Okay, whatever. I'll just press E and you die. As this is a dominant game from HLE, arguably the most dominant of all that we've seen, and they have won every early game in this best of 5 to decide who's going to be our first seed, and it starts to feel like there's no hope. It starts to feel like there's nothing left in this one for T1. As look at the vision setup they have here. They tell Owner no. They've got the sapling as well, just for good measure, but then Guma just hits him. And then it's, okay, I'm killing you. Misses the Q3 as he feebly tries to run away, and then, oh, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And after the start that Zeka had, you know, getting tricked by Faker, the solo death early on, he has bounced back at this
a little rusty,
huge way.
You know, he's like, I just got to shake off the rust, some mistakes.
That's the thing, so often.
Fine, I'm back.
In these big matches, in these live arenas, in these best of 5s, T1 are a team that you can't count out, and they ramp up over the series. But HLE, it feels like they're the ones who gain momentum and ramped up, and now just feel completely on top of this game. There hasn't really been much of a moment for T1, and they're pushing in with a Maokai ult. T1 have to scatter away.
Yeah, and they're just taking whatever they want at this point. I mean, 7,000 gold ahead. They're pushing mid, they're pushing bot, and Faker's in top lane because he knows that his presence on the defense is not going to do anything. So really just trying to pick up the crumbs of what HLE are giving him, which is, you know, these little plates.
He's got a Gnasher's Tooth and a Dream. He's hoping to get his team some bounty gold, but
they're just going to go ahead and take their second Hextech break of the game. Might as well.
The fact that T1 have double Dragon means that they can try to get, you know, 3 plates in exchange for Dragon. It's never going to be equivalent. It's never going to feel great, but they just have to get to this late game Aphelios. Remember, the late game phase Aphelios versus KT, 10,000 gold down. They were able to win. I don't think HANWHA is going to give those same opportunities over, but there is, if you're looking at this in the miracle sense, if you're a T1 fan who's believing like it's not over till it's over, there are some good things right here, but it's going to take a lot more than just sitting back and scaling, I think, in this one.
I think the main sort of potential selling point is that with the composition of HLE, it's around these 2 carries. So if Zeka or Guma usually make a big misplay, you're down to 1 damage dealer, which makes it very hard to fight your way out from that position. So for T1, it's trying to pick one of these major carries. It's not an easy task, definitely not. But that's kind of the angle. And as you said, those 2 dragons mean it's not a soul in HLE's hands right now. It's just so hard to approach, though, because there's this setup, this control, the threat of the Blitzcrank, the threat of the Maokai. This tower is going to be gone because Kanavi can just ult.
Yep, just going to throw an ult down, and immediately it's evacuation city here for T1. They just get away, and they say, no, thank you.
Yeah, against this composition, but particularly when you're this far behind, there's no tank. Owner just isn't bulky enough to survive anything that HLE throw at him, so there's no one who can just be in their way and absorb the Maokai ult, because they will just die to the follow-up.
Saw what happened last time with him against Zeka, and that was before he had IE. That was on 2 items. Looking for a kill on a Zeus. I mean, he is incredibly strong at this point in time, but I think 1v3 is too much to ask for, so a little bit of a shutdown. Dorn actually gets a gold lead himself, but again, feels like another little crumb that HLE are leaving for them.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you stack up enough crumbs.
You make a biscuit?
Yeah, I was going to say like a roll, but same idea.
How many crumbs do you need to make a cake? Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Let's start with like a piece of cake.
That's how many you need.
Yeah. Just a little small triangle. Or maybe like a small pizza crust. HLE do end up losing Zeus here as they were trying to set a trap, and then this equalizer doesn't get the interrupt, but Zeus is then isolated. They're like, okay, well, he's not here. They even committed Faker's TP because they're like, we need to get something. We absolutely must get something here, and they do.
And as much as this game does feel to be in a very dire spot, we've seen this series has consisted of moments where HLE have overstepped and been punished. So T1, they're fishing for those opportunities, trying to see who's recalling late, who's overextending, who's out of position, who can we punish.
Oh, speaking of which, right into the Azir Poppy combo. And guess who's here once again? It's Doran. Zeus is going to try to flash away to get out of this one, but one Harpoon gets the job done. And not even a Senna ult will save him. So a couple of kills in a row here for T1.
At the same time, FaZe is double farming. He's farming top lane and mid lane while the rest of the team goes down. So he's getting double farm for their late game Aphelios win con and sending everyone else as a kill squad. And the setup for HLE, you're like, well, we got this fed Cassante. He's not fed, but he's got items, right? He's late game Cassante. He's approaching it right. We're 25 minutes in. He'll be able to handle almost anything that T1 throw at him. And the top side catch last time, that was a little bit of a desync there from HLE. This time they intentionally were like, he'll hold the line. He'll hold it. We'll defend. It's totally fine. We have control everywhere else. But now it means FaZe gets double farm. You get the kill. You get more money. The gold lead is still 6.5K. It's still massive here for HLE. But those small win cons are growing a little bit here now for T1.
Yeah, they have really sacrificed Faker's farm quite heavily to elevate FaZe. But he's now even gold with Gumishi, which, I mean, we're so used to seeing fasting Senna, who's just so far down in gold. It's weird to see this, but FaZe being strong is such an important factor in this game. Na'Vi and Delight fishing. These two have been together at the hip throughout this game, using that combo. And now setting up for the Baron. This is so scary to approach with the saplings. Look at that damage!
It's crazy.
That is kind of insane, and that's mostly just the Leandres is now owner in a lot of trouble. I think he's just dead. I mean, the Lantern is there, but one little ward, one pesky ward, and you're not getting away. And just like that, T1's chances of challenging the Baron are down the drain.
And it's Baron into Dragon as well.
It's like an impossible situation. It's so hard to approach. It's so difficult. Someone has to go forward. Owner's the tankiest. He eats a bit of CC, and then he's just dead.
And you can't, I mean, you can, but you don't want to give up the Baron because of all the consequences that come with it. But when you try to force it like that, where you just kind of go in piecemeal and you try to get the information, if you're right on the timing or someone's out of position, maybe you could get something. But instead, you give a pick and you give the Baron. As you can see, the Lantern attempt here is denied.
Uh-oh. Oh my god, what is that damage? It's crazy. Zeka's just so fed at this point in time. 1Q3, and Faker's gone.
He's got a QSS. He's budgeted all of that extra money into even additional safety. And this Baron might push to end the game.
Oh, they're going to land an exhaust. Oh, no! Mid-Lantern! He just gets sacked down once again. But it does look like the rest of the team is abandoning ship with that knockback from the Poppy on a Kanavi.
Oh, the Maokai
comes in with the Maokai, and now you have the follow-up coming in from HLE, but it's a little bit off kilter. Down will go Kanavi. As Guma still very strong, still has the range, and Zeka still there with full health. So
Baker's respawning, so I think all they can get is this one inhibitor, but it's still a successful push They have Baron. They have Prio for this Dragon, but they don't have a jungler. But for T1 to get there in time to challenge is going to be very difficult as he pings it. But I think I can do this.
Saves the little Krug for the charge.
Damage. And yeah, saving the Krug for the charge, so smart. I mean, Zek on this champion is just something to behold. Now, Ona's looking for an angle, so they're going to have to move off the Dragon, but they've already gotten a low. This is just going to be given up.
X-Gates, I think, is part of why T1 is able to get here so fast.
Zek, I don't think you do that much damage, but
now, I don't
might as
think
well try.
That Dragon pickup suddenly puts T1 into good odds to win this game, but they've managed to deny another Dragon from HLE, keep them further away from the Hextech Soul, and at least keep their hopes a little bit more present in this game.
So initially this looks like maybe HLE can end the game, right? They go in, they get this interrupt here on the Lantern. It almost looks like predicted by Delight, by the way. But Doran actually is able to go into stasis here, and then Zeus is cut off. They get the Kanabi out, so his ultimate here is Nature's Grasp. It takes so long to actually come into effect that it's a little janky when he goes back in. And Doran is so big, he's got Paze's damage to follow up. And so with all this disjointedness and Faker's respawn, that's the end of the push. Otherwise could have been a win right then, right there. They're still in a commanding lead. They still have Baron for 20 more seconds, but Paze is getting stronger, has his 4th item now.
All right, here we go. Combo comes down once again. Equalizer there, just trying to get them away. Paze has to flash at the very last moment just to try to survive against a Maokai Blitz combo.
And at the dregs of this Baron, they get another inhibitor.
Yeah, just going to take it down. Looks like they're kind of moving towards mid, but HLE, they also have to be careful not to overextend. Just going to poke from a distance with their Senna.
My God!
Rapid fire there for Gumayushi, almost 100 stacks. It's so hard with triple inhibs down. The game is just on a timer.
Yeah.
And against this comp, someone's going to get grabbed sooner or later. You have to believe.
Now T1 going to look for their moment as the grab is down. That's a ton of damage coming out from Paze. I mean, he is still an 80 carry 30 minutes into the game. So at least they hold on to their Nexus turrets. But man, HLE are playing this very safe and very respectfully.
Pretty dangerous. The fact that Doran didn't have Equalizer up, I think is the only thing that saved HLE from potentially, well, definitely losing the 80 carry and potentially losing more. But now they can just wait for the super minions to push
all they
in.
have to do is wait for the minions now.
Yep.
I don't even think the conversation about Baron or this next Hextech Drake is that important for HLE. They're thinking about how they could set up a siege to end this game right now. As with 6 super minions coming in, with the Maokai ultimate in tow, and defending this is just nigh impossible.
He goes for Rabadons, not Azonias. He wants maximum damage, not going for the safety. No Rocket Belt as well picked up.
I think he just wants to go in there, deal a bunch of damage, and die. Like, at this point, he's probably going to die anyways, so might as well go down swinging. But HLE really just trying to put an end to this game, but they're not finding the way to do it just yet. That's a lot of damage into Doran already, as he's going to get rooted up. Immediately has to go golden. Zeka by his lonesome on a Paze, but he is only by himself, not able to get the kill, and finally take down Keria, and the damage is being done to these turrets. As Faker being poked out. Look at this turret that is Gumayushi right now. The pull on a Paze, and that might just do it as Faker in the base gets taken down. And HANWHA Esports, they totally wipe T1 here on the Nexus. Triple kill to Guma, and they will be representing LCK as the first team